Tesla's AI robots are coming, and they are going to change the world as we know it in ways that we are only beginning to understand. Tesla's AI Day event was a high-level, mind-bending demonstration of real-world artificial intelligence and the impacts that this technology will have on our day-to-day lives. Now, I'm not going to claim that we understand the finer details that were discussed around neural networks and supercomputers, but I do feel like we have a pretty solid grasp on the big picture message that Elon and his team are trying to get across, and it's pretty crazy. So let's talk about what we learned at Tesla AI Day. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, they had me going for a second with the techno dancing robot. Obviously, it was just a person in a suit, but for a second there, I wanted to believe. So the big headline news from this event is, of course, going to be the Tesla bot. That was the big secret that Elon revealed at AI Day. There is a humanoid robot currently in development at Tesla that Elon believes could be at least functional within a year. Elon prefaced the explanation of the bot by asserting that Tesla is arguably the biggest robotics company in the world right now. They've produced well over 1 million cars that are essentially semi-sentient robots on wheels. So it would only make sense that eventually they would put that technology into a humanoid form. And that humanoid has been nicknamed Optimus by the engineers at Tesla. I'd argue it's closer to C-3PO than a Transformer, but either way, cool name. Elon explained that Tesla bot is intended to be a friendly automaton that can navigate through the human world. The main purpose for the robot being to take over responsibility for human tasks that are dangerous, boring, and repetitive. The brain of this new robot would essentially be the same brain in the Tesla vehicle, the FSD computer. Elon also stressed that the Tesla bot is designed to be safe in the sense that it will move slow enough that you can run away from it, and it will be weak enough that you can most likely overpower it. Elon says that hopefully this kind of situation will never happen, but you never know. The implications of this thing are honestly mind-bending. If what Elon is saying actually holds true, and based on everything that we saw on Thursday, I'm willing to believe that this is real. This technology will completely disrupt our economy within years, not decades. Elon is the head of two of the biggest and most important companies in the world right now, so I'm inclined to believe that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to economics and labor. In Elon's view, the economy is labor. At its foundation, the idea of capital is just distilled labor. So what happens when there is no shortage of labor? If robotic assets can directly replace human labor, then at a certain point we would reach a limitless economy because the robots would never hit the same limitations that humans do. Robots never get tired, or hungry, or sick. It takes around 2 decades to produce a functional human, but how fast can we build a robot once they are manufactured at scale? 1 day, 1 hour? And in Elon's mind, this will lead into a future where universal basic income is inevitable and physical work will be a choice instead of a necessity. So Elon Musk didn't just show us his plan for a robot, Elon just showed us his vision for a utopian future built on the shoulder of AI robots that Tesla are designing right now. Excuse my language, but that's nuts. All right, so that's where we are going, but how do we get there? We can't have our utopia without real-world artificial intelligence coming first. So that's the problem that Tesla engineers are trying to solve, and we now know more about their efforts than ever before. Going back to the top of the presentation, Elon talked about how Tesla is focusing their research and development on one particular application, a fully self-driving car. But everything that they have built and will build can be used for many more applications down the road. They can take this architecture and pivot towards pretty much any task you can imagine. Tesla isn't building a car so much as they are building a synthetic animal from the ground up with a body, a nervous system, and a brain that moves around and senses the environment using a synthetic visual cortex. So that's the first really cool thing that we learned from Andrej Karpathy, and he really explained how that synthetic visual cortex really sees the world. We know that there are 8 cameras that make up the car's vision, but FSD doesn't treat these like 8 separate streams of information. Andre said that it was too limiting to look at camera vision on a frame-by-frame basis because there is too much deviation between what each camera can see. You're just getting 8 incomplete streams of data. So the first thing that FSD does is transform all images into a single virtual camera that perfectly aligns all of the inputs onto a bird's eye view 360 perspective. This vision is then transformed into the vector space, which is the 3-dimensional map of the world that you are seeing on the screen of a self-driving Tesla. So 8 cameras become 1 camera. That becomes the vector space, and inside the vector space, the car is seeing the past, present, and future of everything around it all at the same time. Andre says that the biggest problem that came from using the individual camera vision was when the camera view was blocked. If one camera lost sight of an object, then it would forget that it was ever there, or it might start making guesses about what might be behind the obstruction. But now, in the vector space, the car is actually going to remember what object it saw before the view was blocked, and it will make a prediction about what that object has been doing in the time that it is out of sight. So imagine there are cars across the street and a big truck rolls by that obstructs the camera's view. If those cars are stopped at a red light, then the car will assume that even though it can't see those cars right now, that they are still in the same place that they were before the view was blocked. Likewise, if the cars across the street are in motion, even when the view is blocked by the truck, the car will continue to make an assumption about where those cars are going based on what they were doing the last time that they were visible. So before AI Day, we kind of assumed that the car was just seeing and reacting to the world around it in 8 different directions at once. But what's really going on right now is one all-seeing eye that isn't just reacting to the present situation in real time, but is also remembering the past and predicting the future all at the same time. Next up, Ashraf came on stage to teach us how the FSD computer makes a decision about how it will move the car through the environment. FSD is always planning for the next 10 to 15 seconds of activity, and it's making broad predictive decisions about whether to slow down or speed up or when to change lanes. These decisions are based on 3 primary factors: safety, comfort, and accuracy. When the car makes its plan for where it's going to be in those next 10 to 15 seconds, it's not only considering its own movement, but also the movement of everyone else. And then it optimizes that plan according to the flow of traffic. So when FSD is choosing a path to guide the car, it's also making a prediction about the activity of every other element within the vector space. So all of these predictions that we are talking about are based on learned experiences from the real world. We know that every Tesla vehicle is able to record data and send it in to be analyzed and labeled and incorporated into the neural net. But what we didn't know was that Tesla is actually training their FSD computer in a simulated world where they can throw crazy scenarios at it that aren't common enough in real life to get a substantial data set. They're basically making the FSD brain play video games to learn new skills. So, for example, anyone who follows the channel knows that we love to joke about moose on the road as a wild, unpredictable situation that a self-driving car might have to deal with. We're Canadians, all right? It's a fun joke. Well, Ashraf literally showed us a simulation where they had a moose on the road for the car to deal with. This is a real problem that Tesla is solving with this insane photorealistic video game reproduction of the real world. And all of these imagined gameplay experiences get mixed together with billions of frames of video data to create an FSD brain that has literally seen it all. Okay, next up, Ganesh came out to school us on Project Dojo. And this is where things get really technical and just kind of soar past our ability to comprehend as just average-minded people and not computer geniuses, but here's the gist of it. Dojo is a big computer brain that is built from the ground up for the purpose of machine learning. No one else has ever really done this before because everyone else is using GPUs to power their machine learning systems. It's a task that GPUs can do pretty well, but it's not the task that the GPU was designed to do. The D1 chip was designed entirely by Tesla's team internally specifically to power Dojo. It has 5 times the power of the best GPU on the market, and it literally fits into the palm of your hand. The D1 chips are integrated into what Tesla calls training tiles, and these tiles contain 25 D1 chips along with their own power feed, integrated liquid cooling system, and voltage regulator. Multiple training tiles are then integrated into a cabinet that can achieve 100 petaflops of processing power. And then these cabinets can also be integrated together to create what Tesla calls Dojo's training mat. This collection of 10 cabinets ups the processing power to 1 exaflop. Don't worry, I've never heard of a bunch of these terms before either. Dojo is the fastest AI training computer in the world at 4 times the performance for the price of any other supercomputer. 1.3 times the performance per watt, and that's done in a 5 times smaller footprint than anything else. Dojo is functioning right now on the tile level, but Tesla is working on assembling the first cabinets soon. And this isn't even the end goal. The training mat is just step 1 for Dojo. Tesla is already looking ahead to a next generation of the Dojo system that will have a 10 times improvement over all of those stats that I just listed, which are already insane to begin with. And that's the whole reason for AI Day in the first place. Tesla is showing everyone that they are already the best in the world, but they are aiming to go 10 times further in the very near future. And they need to recruit the minds that are going to get them there. That's definitely not me, and to be honest, no offense, but it's probably not you either, but those super genius minds are out there somewhere, and it's a safe bet that they have got the message and are answering the call. But where are you guys at with all of this? There was so much to take in from this, just one 90-minute presentation. I haven't even really been able to process it all yet. So let us know your biggest takeaway from AI Day in the comments below, and we'll maybe start working on a follow-up video that gets even deeper into some of these ideas. But as always, if you want to continue to learn about everything regarding Tesla, SpaceX, and Elon Musk, we've got 2 more video options for you on the screen to check out. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up today if you liked it, and subscribe to our channel for weekly content just like this.